So we got the most featured artist in the world, the legendary Kokane on Conversations with Chad. What's up with you, homie?
Man, what's up with it, Chad? Appreciate you having me on the platform.
Yes, sir. So let's kick this off by talking about the new album, The Funkin Adventures of Dr. Kokanstine.
Right.
Um, what was the inspiration behind this project? And when you went in to record this, was it always going to be a 3 disc album?
Originally, I wanted to be a double disc, but you know how the universe do, and it's fine three, and it's actually almost 4 albums, 3 more songs in it. Actually, be 4 albums, but that was overkill. So I wanted to hit them with a particular project that has 3 albums, but take them more on an adventure or musical experience. I've been doing a lot of different things throughout the years and adapting to different styles. So with this particular project right here, we wanted to have a big pot of menudo, a big pot of gumbo, with different styles from social conscious messages to reality rap to the, commonly gangster shit, and all that. And we even got classical and rock and roll just as well as soul and blues on this particular project. A lot of the stuff that's on here have live instrumentation. Like 95% of the project have live instruments. And we have everybody from my daughter to Ice Cube to Corrupt to Jay Worthy, you know, doing a song for the first time with my Ruthless alumni partner, Rhythm D. Mo Fock, he's definitely producing on the project. Cutty Dre, who's also a Buddy Boy in-house producer. And it's an incredible project, man. And I'm as far as the COVID virus happening, we were going to put it out then, but then we was like, we want to pump our brakes and really give the fans something. So what I've done first is linked in with, of course, Sugar Free and put out the Sugarcane album with him and Ted. And then I said, I'm gonna wait till the right season, and this was, the right season to put it out because, it has songs that are pertaining to what the hell is going on. Brothers out there still killing themselves. The good thing about a footnote in this moment is that Kendrick was able to spawn some things out of that one show, bringing the Crips and Bloods together. But everybody, it's just not a one-off. Everybody got to do their thing. And those type of songs I have on my project. I also have a song on the project right here. It says real thick. We sell hard copies still. It's a project called Hey You, which was also reflipped by Cutty Dre. And it's inspired by Pink Floyd. It's a rock and roll song, but it's mainly touching on all the homelessness and mental issues and wars that are going on in the streets. And it's not getting better, it's getting worse. And I feel that music needs a balance, and I was able to put that balance out there. You're gonna get your party songs. You're gonna get you know what I'm saying, on some G-Funk, gangster funk. But most importantly, the most relevant thing is the songs that are pertaining to the signs of the time. So it got a little something for everybody on here, Chad. It came out on my birthday, March 10th. I realized it's a project that I have to really push for the next 2.5 years because it has like at least 37 tracks to the dome. So it's been seeping out there, slowly but surely. But I like the organic approach. You know what I mean? So it's the Funkin Adventures of Dr. Kokanstine.
Yeah, that's what's up. And with everything that you're talking about, there's so much to unpack with this album. Um, one of the things I want to do is kind of get into some of the different tracks that you got on here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, with like with the features and the production and things like that. So the first track I want to talk about is Let's Ride Out. And
Right,
the reason why I want to talk about this one is for 2 reasons. One, I love the production from Banks and Big Zeke, the
right,
Space 87 duo. But then the other part of this is your daughter is featured on this song.
right.
So talk to me about getting this track from Ant Banks and Big Zeke, and then also getting your daughter on this song, because I kind of imagine it's got to be like a full circle moment for you to be able to uh, to be on a song with your daughter.
Absolutely. Well, me and Aunt Banks been making magic happened for a minute. I would always get on his projects and vice versa. And when we recently linked in, he said, I got this cat named Big Zeke, who's like my right-hand man on doing production. So they shot me the track. And then I happened to get in touch with my guy Steve from Troop, because he's singing the hook, Steve from Troop. Shout out to Troop. And it was just one of those, going back to the 90s feel, and I said, this would be cool, super cool to put my daughter on there, because she's really tapped into this generation, but she's more so tapped into our generation. You know what I mean? With live instrumentation, how it was fun to go to a party in the 80s and 90s and really wasn't thinking about getting shot up, that type of shit. So it just fit good. And we also doing a video for that as well, upcoming. And it's just one of those songs that fit good on the project, because you always want to, I got a hardcore Kokane fan base that know, I'm about that gangster funk, but I'm also about the party, just like Parliament Funkadelic. So when we did the project, I was like, oh yeah, this is a dope addition to the project, Dr. Kokanstine.
So, and speaking on Aunt Banks for a second, because like you said, you two have linked up several times, like on the TWDY Shut Up record, Too Short Ice-T Recognized Game, Hoes and Tricks with Goldie and Slink Capone, Black Jesus.
Yep.
And then obviously with the recent Another Hoe Bites the Dust with Sugar Free.
Mm-hmm.
Elaborate a little bit on working with Aunt Banks and the chemistry that you guys have in the studio.
I mean, Aunt Banks is like me, just like Sure. We all about the funk. You know what I mean? As long as you keep it funky, that's our element. Studying some of the greats from Barcades to Ohio players to Johnny Guitar Watson to, of course, Parliament Funkadelic, Rub City Band. It's like we are the star children of them. And it's like whenever I always get into a lab, when it's right, it's right. And in particular with, Aunt Banks ain't even Too Short. We just let it vibe, man. If it's not about the vibe, I can't do it. And we all, us three amigos, kind of think alike. You know what I mean? And making records with him in the past was just incredible. Aunt Banks is definitely an icon and a pillar, not just from the West Coast, but in hip hop in general. Because between him and Short and all his other things that he was doing, he's like, that boy got the funk. And now, linking in with Big Zeke at the same time, you know what I mean? That's what it's all about. And I like to be a team player. I like to walk into a studio where everybody is badass at what they do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It ain't like, oh, what you got? No, because that's how musicians feel. So dealing with Aunt Banks, I would call him more of a musician versus just a producer or a beat maker, because they selling beat packs right now on the little do. But they know the music theory of funk and soul and rhythm and blues. So that's why I always mess with Aunt Banks throughout the years. And I'm glad we recently connected, on the Sugarcane album and on my album, of course.
Yeah, no doubt. So the next track I want to talk about is All My Life with Rhythm D. What was it like linking back up with Rhythm D? Your former Ruthless Records, producer and all that. What was that experience like working with him on this track?
Oh, incredible. I always thought Rhythm D was incredible. Funky producer, you know, you seen the stuff he did on the Easy E stuff. It was just incredible, bro. So we was thinking like, man, we never done a song together, because it was such a short time, with the unfortunate passing of Easy and everybody split apart. I'm pretty sure if Easy was alive, we'd have been cooking. But that was history in the making to me, man, to be able to hook up with Rhythm D, outside of my main producer, which was Cole 187. Shout out to Cole 187, because he's also produced on the project. But it was history in the making, man, coming from that Ruthless cloth. And when he shot me the track, I wanted to do something where I bring back home, storytelling, because I believe in storytelling. And that's something this project has, is definitely got the storytelling appeal. So it leaves room for imagination. You feel what I'm saying? So we shot the video in Pomona, California. And it's just one of those songs, man, that it's from a storytelling point of view. All my life, I mess with them, the gangsters, players, and hustlers. These were my uncles. These was the people we looked up at the store in the neighborhood, so to speak. It don't mean it had to be right, but it mean at the same time, because of certain things we learned from them, we learn how to survive at the same time. It just wasn't all no negativity. No, we learned how to survive, especially under a system that have us oppressed. You know, not just based on one ethnicity. Oppression is oppression. So, but through our music, we learn how to survive and learn from the gangsters and learn from the pimps. It wasn't just be like them, you know. So, you know, that type of song all my life it registered over to where we come from, of our age bracket, all the way down to the youngsters that are dealing with certain similar situations. It's like I'm not glorifying it. I'm saying this is what it is. You ain't got nothing to prove. You can't reinvent the wheel or be bigger than the program. The thing of it is like I'm telling you this story, but look at me right now. Because all my life I mess with these cats, but I learned from them how to go legal. I learned from them how to uplift myself. I learned from them how to stay out the bars, not in them.
One
So,
song you talked about earlier, and I'd love for you to elaborate on it if you're able, is the song "Hey You" and how it speaks on the social issue of homelessness, something that's not addressed as often as it needs to be. What motivated you to create that song?
well, ever since I checked in the game, I've always had that balance. Blame it on my father, you know, Jerry Buddy Long in Motown. You know, he used to work on big records, but he used to initiate a balance. So it comes from that in my DNA and my 23 chromosomes. And I've always felt as a child that some of my experiences I related to your Marvin Gaye's, what's going on, and certain other things, even as a star child. And I've always, when I started my career in the early 80s, taking it serious, I would always have songs like, you know, between good and evil, the good and bad theory. You know what I mean? I felt encouraged by listening to Curtis Mayfield and different other things like Gil Scott Heron and The Last Poets, as well as listening to Chocolate City Parliament. They were talking about things, and if you didn't catch it, you didn't catch it, but they were talking about things that were uplifting to the social status, past the social status. You know, they tapped right into the suppression of the ghettos. And that was a form of survival because music is the most powerful form of influence. You know what I mean? So when I did that song, Hey You, bro, it was just like second nature because you go outside and I bullshit you not, homie. You go to Seattle, Tacoma, the homelessness is crazy now. You can get opioids and all kind of other crazy shit. Then you go to Skid Row, it's crazy, getting even more crazier out there. And we have enough money in these institutions in this capitalist society called government America to help our people, to go ahead and do right by our people in our own backyard, but yet we can give so much trillions of dollars to other countries for wars. That's not correct. So I kind of identified the Hey You song with one of those songs folk songs they will put out in the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? Like really talking about some stuff to uplift the people. And I think that's where music needs to get back to because it's been too much pussy popping shit without nothing intuitive or intelligence to help you move your soul, dance, but at the same time feed your spirit. You know what I mean? So Hey You was one of those songs that make you say, man, come on, man. What do you think you so big because you got this money? Money don't mean shit. The poor man, rich man grave is the same. Man, stop all that shit. So, you know, a lot of people will listen to it and be like, hey, what are y'all? But that's not for them people. It's for the people to feel encouraged by the music. Maybe they might hear "Hey You" and lost their job and is in the streets for a second, or maybe an artist that want to really talk about these things finally muster up the courage to. So, "Hey You" is something that is definitely raising my voice, and it's no different than the modern day Marvin Gaye. What's going on?
Another very socially conscious song on the album that I really enjoyed, as well as its accompanying video, is Our Own Worst Enemy. Can you talk about the creation of that?
Oh, I had that song in the making for about 5 years, but I never did put it. I had it an idea. Let's talk about songs. You know, I don't want to say the word genocide because everybody's splattering that well. I didn't want to say black on black crime all the time, even though that's what's happening. I wanted to say something that it was simple, but it was to the point. And basically, we became our own worst enemy. Because that right there, it just has depth to it. We became our own worst enemy. And then the words that I, borrowed from the universe allowed me to write that, humbly speaking, because of my experiences myself against my own people. The experiences of myself of learning from other races, of course, but going to the point to where we're marching, blaming other people for things that we can do ourselves. See, it has to stop. So I wanted to put that type of song, and the video is out too as well. Shout out to my son, he filmed the video, him and my nephew Zach. But I wanted to show those images, and I wanted to put those words together to make you think. Like, come on, we blame everybody else. We can blame cops for being cops, whether they cool or not. But then the same people that are blaming it, you going around and hurt your brother and you hurt your sister. And that's hypocritical, man. Us as a people, we have to knock down the divisions of being hypocritical and contradicting ourselves. And that's what our own worst enemy. It's no cookie cutter. I mean, it's like shit. Not saying as a whole, but the influences and the shit that they polarize on media. Nah, man, this type of song need to be said, man, because it hits straight to the jugular vein.
Well done, sir. Much appreciated. It reminded me a lot of the Ice Cube song Us, like a modern day version of that.
Right. Absolutely. Right.
So I want to take it to the East Coast for a second because the record Hush with Kool Rock Ski and the Fat Boys, obviously produced by your homie and my homie, The Chill from Compton's Most Wanted. How did you link up with Kool Rock Ski for this record, and how did everything just kind of come together for that?
Well, I've seen him on live. I was tapping into his other partner, rest in peace, Prince Marky D, because I wanted to get him too as well. But then I sent a message out on the internet, and he just responded to the message. I'm like, I mean, growing up off the Fat Boys, I mean, they made life a little bit more better because laughter is powerful. You know what I mean? Where would those Friday movies be without Disorderlies and out the Fat Boys? All that shit comes from them, man. And they had cold ass songs they did with Curtis Blow. So when I was a child, we grew up off that shit. I mean, some banged to that shit. Jailhouse Rock, all that shit. So when I shot him the message, he shot back, and I was very grateful. Like, wow, because I grew up off y'all. I know y'all was on the first Fresh Prince, and it was just like bam, like as a youth. So I shot him the track. Chill gave me a slumper. I told him I wanted to reflip some shit off the Fat Boys, and I shot him the track, and he wrote that shit, and I'm like, God dang. You know what people always like to say? I hate to say to people, you still got it. You still got it. I didn't even want to say that, Chad. I just said, man, it's like, man, it never left you, bro. So I wanted to hook up with him on his soil instead of just filming videos you sent me. So he actually took me, we went to Brooklyn and got a real hip hop education, man. My son filmed the video along with my nephew, Zach. It was incredible. We went to the neighborhoods where they grew up, and shit. That's important to me because I'm a hip hopper too at the same time I'm a funkster. So when he laid his cut on there, I wanted to lay something that complements that time, but with an updated twist. And we put that shit together, put the video together. You know what I mean? Walking down Manhattan, happened to bump into homie Tretch. Like, damn. So he got in the video as well. And you know, that was a fun video because it was at a time prior to the verses happening. And we hit that record and it's still doing good. You know, for those that ain't heard it, they still raising their eyebrows, man, because this is East Coast and this is West Coast icon showing that, hey, ain't no substitution on creativity. If it's dope, it's dope. And ain't no ending on being dope. It's not like you're a basketball star and break your Achilles. Look at these cats. Look at Kool Rock Ski and Kokane still putting that shit down. That's what I love it. And it was good for hip hop too.
Yeah. So with this album, 37 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
What are your 3 favorite joints off this project?
I have a lot of them on there. You know, most rappers, most singers will say that shit. I have a lot of them. But really, like, Hey You is our own worst enemy. And I would say, Off the Wall, Windows of My Mind. It's different. But then again, I like Monkey Wasn't Funky because that's like a modern day Knee Deep. And then the other songs with my daughter, you know, that's on it. It's some creative stuff that it is for the world, so to speak, because I also have a song called Rabbit Hole. It's like electronic funk, up tempo. So it's different. It also has some classical music on there, type of shit. You feel me? So whatever your pet peeve, if this is something for your musical arsenal, you know, go ahead and get that. And this is a special project to me. You know what I'm saying? And all those that really, you know, from the Cubes to my daughter to Hutch, to just in general, you know, just allow me to put the, you know, get the magic on there as well. And yeah, I would say those 3 songs would be more of my songs.
You mentioned earlier the gang truce that Kendrick Lamar's Juneteenth performance brought about, which was a wonderful thing. What was your initial reaction or thought to that performance when you first saw it?
That was natural. That was real natural. That was something I think that was orchestrated by the universe. So you also equally got to thank Drake, whether he's the poster child or not. You know, you can't, you know, you catch the first song without seeing. I don't know that man's history and stuff, but this is hip hop. Hip hop was based upon battle. You see what I'm saying? And he came into our arena thinking that you could do that when it wasn't like that. But at the same time, look how the Most High, look how the universe orchestrated this whole thing, but it identified culturally on a massive level, kind of like Nipsey Hussle's funeral. It's like a birth. So when you think about it, what Kendrick did, he did it right. He just didn't come out and say, in a narcissistic way, I put this together. No, he said, like Martin Luther King or any one of our people, it was people that was before me that allowed this to happen. And that's what makes that young king, you know, really a little more tapped into the cosmos a little more because he did it right. He did it organically. You know what I'm saying? And it's like no one ever anticipated that type of love for the culture that especially we need in hip hop. You hear all kind of motherfuckers popping up dead all the time. Little kids from Florida dead all the time. And that's nonsense. What he showed is that I can get these hardcore gangsters, gangbangers, but at the same time, Drake, you might be the Judas, but it's all gonna make sense. So thank Drake too for that happening, man, because that's something that we needed. You know, we need unity. You know, last time I seen that type of unity was at Nipsey Hussle's funeral and the 92 riots, to tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. So it's a moment, but I'm just glad people are picking up the baton too, because, you know, moments come and go. Motherfuckers talk all that shit all day, and then go to church on Sunday and then kill a motherfucker on Tuesday. So I hope in regards to what's going on organically, that it inspire others to pick up the baton and do the same damn thing. Express unity, speak up. You know what I'm saying? Put some intelligence in your music sometimes.
Wonderfully said. Another noteworthy date, right after that, June 20th, was the anniversary of the passing of Prodigy.
Mhm.
Can you talk about working on the song Last Words from his Return of the Mac album?
Yeah, that was an incredible brother right there. Deep too, very intelligent, and a real nigga. You feel me? So this was during the time I was popping. You know, it was popping when the Last Man was out, the East Side of Records, also Dr. Dre's record. So I flew to New York, you know, and developed a brotherly relationship with him, with Mobb Deep as well, and Alchemist. You feel me? So I stayed out there for 2 weeks, but I went out there, you know, with my LA hat. I rented a Corvette, you know what I'm saying, with the top down, doing like this in front of the potholes in Manhattan. You know the Cali lifestyle. We're gonna live a little. And then I would go pick up Prodigy all the time and we dip out, you know. So it was like, man, he liked my shit. Because we already did songs before. Everywhere I go, or we stay connected on the east side. But then when I went back, we did a bunch of shit together. We did like over 8 different songs. And he said, I want to write this one. And that last letter or whatever the song is, I can't think off the bat. That was incredible because, in my opinion, that was a precursor to him passing. He was already writing that letter. And I've been there around people before, like Tupac, like KMG, where they might say something and then it comes to fruition. You feel what I'm saying? So it was incredible though, man. Very
Outstanding song.
incredible.
I'm saying it was an outstanding song, and it still is.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Of
Thanks, man.
course.
Yo,
Yeah.
so let me take it back for a second. Back to Ruthless Records, Eazy-E, NWA.
Mhm.
Tell me how you initially met Eazy-E, became a part of Ruthless Records, and then what was it like being on the Appetite for Destruction and working with Dre, Easy, and Ren on that record?
Oh, it was cool. It was cool. I did a 3-song demo with my cousin Cole 187. And once we finished that, I was had a signed up a production deal through Larry Goodman, Law House, rest in peace. And we did the production, a majority of the production for the Who Am I album, not the Funkin Pariah, because that was second. The Who Am I album, which I'll get into them changing the name politically. But they shot the demo to Eazy-E, and Eazy was like, damn, this dude sounds crazy, like George Clinton, Rick James, and he busted. So it didn't take long for me to get signed. And we finished 80% of the project in 1989, but I would have to wait the following year after one of Above the Law's prolific album, Living Like a Hustler. And then Eazy-E landed one of the biggest deals at that time. It was considered our West Coast Russell Simmons, with Poor Broken Lonely, Above the Law, and myself, Kokane. But then during those times, FCC laws wouldn't permit them to say cocaine on the radio. They could say NWA, but they couldn't say cocaine. So they made Ruthless Records change the name at the last minute. And that kind of stifled me a little bit, but I was big underground because people was like going to the stores and it was like, who am I? Well, we look okay. But then that was cool because it allowed me to get more from an underground approach. And then those gentlemen invited me on a project just as well as Above the Law Black Mafia like. But Niggas for Life, they invited me on that project. And Easy said, I want you to write something for me. So I wrote his 10 Gangster Commandments on Appetite of Destruction, just as well as introducing a character called Sweet Talk, who's my alter ego that you can hear years later on a lot of records when I write y'all. So, you know, that got my feet kind of like, you know, soaking wet because it allowed me to taste the platinum status. And a year before that, or a year and a half, you know, it allowed me to go travel because the only NWA tour it ever was, I was on that tour with Above the Law as well. So I was cool if the radio didn't want to play Kokane because I made music for the streets anyway. And my name was just starting to float around more. Here's this kid named Kokane. He busts, he raps, he do all kind of, he's crazy, you know, and that kind of like got me a little bit more bigger in the streets during that time.
So you dropped your first solo album, Addictive Hip Hop Music, in 91.
Mm-hmm.
It's now 2024, over 30 years of making legendary and classic music. Is there anything you would change about your journey?
Yeah, there's some things, but you can't live with regrets. I'm gonna be brutally honest, you know, but a lot of things, nah, things had to happen for a reason. You know what I mean? I look at this generation now and the way the world is and how it's getting more harder and how the internet made things kind of weirder and freakier. You know, certain things you don't know God will train you for. And then years later, you understand why he trained you for that or allows you to go through certain situations. So in retrospect to that, 95% I wouldn't change, nothing. And I don't live with no regrets because the same things that's designed to hurt you was the very blessing in essence to bless you and help you rise. So I learned from each experience in my life, and nobody has to be perfect. That's the good thing between your relationship with you, God, and your family. All you got to do is get to the point of being sick and tired. And then that's when the change comes. So I share those experiences in my music as well, just to go over to a wider range because I've been in the game for over 30 plus some years. And I raised over three generations. But I feel it's important to give them your testimony sometime. Give them your hard knock life situation. You know, you ain't got to settle on the foundation. Oh, woe is we feeling sorry for yourself type shit. No, but it's very powerful to share your experiences through the arts of music and entertainment. And that's what I'm still doing today because it's very important. If when you look at the projects that I was on from Black Mafia Life to Uncle Sam's Curse, we were touching on certain social ills and things that are happening in society, our government, our ghettos, our school systems. It was very important for us to do that, just like our ancestors did. And I will continue that mission. So I'm glad going back to what Kendrick did, he was able to pick up from the Kokanes and able to pick up from the Pox and able to learn from the Snoops or whomever he learned from. And that's a beautiful thing because we encourage each generation to be better than us, not less than us. That's why we are here. We're here to encourage. But the disconnection happens when we are subdued by so much amount of this type of music, this type of music. It makes people on the zombies, makes people think drugs is cool. It's unbalanced. But then the universe got a good sense of humor and know how to jerk the earth real quick so things can be back in balance. And a lot of people are going back to those Above the Law and Kokane records, listening to Rain Before Rainbows, No Pain, No Gain, and it's hitting their spirit. That's what soul music is about. Now we're getting back to the soul music. Now we're getting back to real bars. Now we feeding the people instead of stealing from the people. And I'm happy we all doing that. So as an elder, as an OG in the game, and as much breath God put in my body, I will continue on this mission because you can't get happy in a moment when you got to get to the goal. You feel me?
Yeah, no doubt. So now, you know, you are the world's most featured artist. You working with Snoop Dogg, Busta Rhymes, Dr. Dre, NWA, Too Short, Ice Cube, Exhibit, Nipsey Hussle, E40. I mean, everybody. Um, for you, who are your favorite artists to collaborate with?
Oh man, everybody you basically just named. Easy E above the law too as well. Also, Jenny Rivera was a Spanish artist that got killed in the airplane crash. Um, a life-changing experience working with George Clinton and Bootsy Collins. You feel me? Larry Blackman, Zap, Jay Dilla. The list goes on, man. I'm no cut on it. I love just working with other great artists, and the vibration is just like boom, 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 and that's what make hit records, because I don't make demos. When people come to me, I'm gonna give you a hit record.
I want to get your thoughts on and your opinion on is just because it's so fresh. What are your thoughts on what just occurred over the weekend with former President Donald Trump and the attempted assassination on him? What are your thoughts on that?
Former who?
Former President Donald Trump.
No, you said former?
He's the former president, right?
No, it's not former. He is the president. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Anybody who ever got shot and came out of jail or beat the RICO Act, they stacks just go like, I don't care if it was pot, I don't care if it was 50. It's something about America love the bad guys, rebel without a cause. But when he got up and did this, then he walked in with the plastic shit on his ear. He's Jesus Trump right now. Trust that. Ain't no way in hell. I don't mean to disbite, but get your old ass down somewhere and enjoy life. You know what I mean? Right now, I hate to say it, Trump is the president. He's going to be the president. Because that's what America thrives off a lot, is violence. And you able to somehow be a Teflon Don, so to speak. That was the wrong time for him to get shot right now for Biden. And anybody that's going to, because of sympathy points right now he gets. He's our hero. And see, thing that people don't understand about Trump, it's like he's racist. And well, okay. He's not really racist. Only thing he gives a fuck about is power and money. That's it. He's a businessman. You know, politicians in there. You need an asshole like him. That's just my opinion. I don't vote for none of them, but you need a motherfucker that's gonna get shot in the ear, get his ass up, and say, yeah, and get some of the homies out too, like he did last time. But, you know, that's politics for you, man. Politics. I don't even dabble in that, but yeah, man, right now, I'm telling you, he's Jesus Trump. He's Jesus Trump. Everybody's like, what's this? Jesus Trump. He won already to me.
Hey, Coca, man, we appreciate you coming on. Giving us some of your time, talking to us about the new album, going through some history a little bit. Really do appreciate it. I always enjoy our talks, man. We've been doing this for, I don't know, like 12, 15 years or something. So,
yes, sir, man. I appreciate you too, brother.
Yes, sir.